Hello there, it's me, Sorry, here again, and I know it's been a while since I did some filming, but I just wanted to show you how come I have been so occupied. You know, I have become quite fascinated by the steampunk theme recently, and I have to warn you, this video might be a little bit shaky because these things are pretty big. Here's my hand. So I'm sure you can understand the size of these things. So it isn't easy to film them under a tripod. And I've got 3 different things to show you today. And as you can see, I have just loaded them full with different kinds of charms and decorative metal trinkets. And I made this bag using the so-called faux metal technique. That is using aluminum tape over different kinds of decorations, as for these spiral paper clips, die cut gadget gears. So this bag, I had the intention with it to just make it as steampunky as I knew how to. And as you can see, here's the grand final or finale, with all the different kinds of gadget gears that I could find from Tim Holtz. And I've got even some metallic decorations there. And instead of just colouring this with some black acrylic, I actually started painting it with some golden acrylic paint. And then I continued with a brown hue, and to finish things off I just went over it with some black. And I did the same thing for Tim Holtz's foundations feet. Actually, they are sort of antique silver from the beginning, but I went on coloring them with some golden and then some brown, and to finish things off with some black. So this is basically it. I mean, the bag is pretty big, and it has got a clasp I can use here, and I've got a couple of chains here with some wonderful decorations from Tim Holtz and even other companies. I'm not sure what they're called. And I even stretched it a bit by putting on some pearls or some kind of jewelry thingies here, and a locket and a wonderful clock as well, just to continue with the vintage theme. So here's Destiny for me, here's Altered, Inspire, and also Breathe. And I just wanted to stay within the brass theme, so to speak. So I'm going to lift this up, and you can see that my intention is to complete this. I did use papers from an old book with the Gothic font, and I just put them there pretty randomly. I just wanted to see how it's going to be. So I'm going to sort of glue these down somehow, or just put some lacquer on them, and some sort of a varnish, I mean. So I'm hoping that will make it work really. So I'm pretty pleased with this bag. And I also put some buttons on top. These were metallic buttons from the start, and I went on colouring them in. I think it was both gold and perhaps some brown. I just wanted them to blend in with the bag a little bit better. And as you can see, and I just love these wonderful gadget gears. And as for the text that I have stamped here, I have used a stamp from Vilda Stamps. It's a Swedish company, and it's called a letter background, brevbakgrund. And I also can see that I've forgotten to talk to you about that word decoration there. Possibility begins with imagination, and there's a couple of big brads there. So this is it basically. I'm just going to put that one down, and I'm going to show you the next project. As you can see, I'm still in the steampunky feel and mood, and this is basically done with the same sort of method, but this time I didn't use the aluminum tape. I just went on cutting out these pieces and shapes, die cutting or just using my scissors, and putting them on, gluing them down with a heat gun. No, not a heat gun, a glue gun, I'm sorry. And then I just colour it in with the golden acrylic paint, continue with brown, and then finish things off with some black. And I think that really gives it a nice depth and keeps it sort of interesting and grungy as well. So I did put on a couple of handles there. I'm sure these are used for kitchen doors regularly, and since the screws I had were so long, I decided on putting on some thread spools for a sewing machine. These are actually just decorations that I bought at Panduro. It's a Swedish business here in Sweden, and I just put the screw on the inside there. And I'm thinking of actually putting the same kind of papers on the inside of this one as well, as long as I have the time and come to think of it really. And then I used a wonderful sort of handle which I found at a flea market. And I'm telling you, these aren't coming cheap nowadays. I mean, they know how to take prices for them, but I like it. I like the way it looks. This one was also sort of antique grey or silver from the beginning, but I did the same thing as for the colouring of the box. Golden, brown and then some black, just to keep it cohesive really. And to put these bolts here, all these sort of things, I just used some regular brads. And I used colours that I wouldn't really want to use in the future. And then I just painted them over. And as for the structure effect here, I've actually used my heat gun this time, my embossing gun. And just sort of made the colour come to a boil in order to get that grunginess there and the structure. So this way, when I have my two hands free, I'm actually able to carry this one really nicely with my hands. And I think having this one in a bookshelf or something really makes it easy to just lift the lid up and also just have something beautiful to look at. But let's see, I've got one thing more to show you, and I'm telling you, it isn't small. So this is the reason I chose to take this video camera here. I'm going to back off a bit so you can see I have made myself a big steampunk feely hat, and I'm going to wear this on my 45th birthday, since I'm turning 45 later this year. So I just started off making a small top hat, and I found a wonderful template at Graphic 45's homepage, and then I just went on using another hat that I had, sort of to make a template out of it. And I also wanted to make this sort of an egg shape feel to it, since my head isn't completely round on top, it is sort of egg-like. And well, I wanted to give this hat the proper fit. So what I did was I just made this one in black at the bottom, so I had a basis, a basis to work on. And then I put some magazine papers here, just sprinkle them up and just glue them down with my glue gun. And then I sprayed them a little bit, and then I put a bit of corrugated paper here, just to give this hat a wonderful sort of vintagey feel. And then I went on colouring this one a little bit, and well, you know, and I sprayed it. I think I told you before. And before I glued this one down, I actually die cut a couple of more of these wonderful gadget gears from Tim Holtz, and then I run them through a couple of his texture fades, and then I put on some Inca Gold shimmer paste on top of them, and that way I can actually make those dry embossed effects really pop out. And then I have used some new stamps from Vilda Stamps also. This is a wide film strip stamp, and I have continued stamping on it 3 times because I wanted to make it a little bit longer. And I did the same thing on this side, and for the top part I actually did stamp it on both sides, so it wouldn't be white on one side when I made this loop sort of thing there. And I have also started using these bottle caps. These are really nice. After I have run them through my Big Shot, they actually look like this. But let's see if I can get my hands on one of them. Using my mouth there. They look like this from the start. And these have to be special type of bottle caps. You can't really use the ones you get from a bottle which you have drunken out of. And then you're just going to flatten it out with your big shot or catalogue or whatever, and then you get these wonderful decorations. And then you could put some wonderful stamps in them. If you haven't got wonderful stamps, we're using the word wonderful a couple of times here, and you could just make decorations out of anything really. And I've used a, let's see, a 1-inch punch to just put them out like so. And as I told you, Vilda Stamps are going to release a set of different inches stamps. So here's a wonderful clock, for example, and you can find the clock there in the center. And then there's also a clock into another stamp set, and I think I've put the clock here a couple of times. So I wanted to make this hat look sort of vintagey and sort of a little bit rough and rustic at the same time. So the corrugated paper, I think, helps out a lot. Also the gadget gifts make it a little bit more steampunky, I think. With the lace here, I'm sort of trying to be a little bit romantic, even though I'm not a romantic person per se. Wonderful flowers. And look at that skull. I just have to have them there. It's a wonderful idea, I think. And then I wanted to make sort of a flowery thing that goes up to that top of that hat. And I'm not sure if I'm ready when it comes to decorating this. Could be that I actually continue later on. But I wanted to give you a heads up on this wonderful idea that I have with a top hat. And just making things a little bit more, you know, oh, I didn't imagine that sort of thing. This is what I came up with. So, wonderful new stamps coming from Vilda Stamps. And I'm signing off right now, and I hope you are inspired to make your own steampunky things. Bye bye for now.